Hello, friends. Just wanted to say a couple of words about my thoughts on the COVID vacation that we are all enjoying at the moment, and a few thoughts as how I think we have to get back to doing business, and a few thoughts about how I think the business community really needs to engage on a much larger basis than just opening the doors and turning on a sign. So, my personal thought is that I well understand the science portion of needing to have a shutdown to isolate people and the safer at home. I do think, though, that with the amount of time that has taken place, there is no specific scientific evidence that staying ensconced in our dwellings for a longer period of time has any benefit. I also think that some of the openings that have taken place where you could go to, let's say, a big box store, whether it's a Home Depot, a Menards, something of that nature, even going shopping at a Metromart, but you can't go to a bar or restaurant. I don't understand how that makes any sense, because there are hundreds of people in these other stores, and yet you have bars and restaurants that will be restricted once they can open to just a mere percentage of their normal capacity. So I think that we have to find a balance between science, between reason, and between the emotionality of this. And I think that certainly in the city of Milwaukee, where everything surrounding us, the entire metropolitan area except for Milwaukee, is open for business at bars and restaurants, but Milwaukee is not. So you could literally have a situation where right across the street have people that are having dinner, but you can't open in Milwaukee. And there's no, again, solid evidence that will give us any type of rationalization why we can't be open. I think the bigger issue than just not the ability to open is that the city of Milwaukee has just been incredibly lax in having any communication with the business community. The mayor has been incredibly non-responsive. We could get more out of our health commissioner as well. And I think we're just not there. And I think that much of the economic vitality of the city is dependent upon small businesses, medium-sized businesses. And when you preclude them from the ability to conduct a business, you not only affect the business owners, but you affect all the people that they employ. In this case, we've got 30-odd people on staff at Shakers, and perhaps we're a small to medium-sized restaurant for the number of people that we have, but that is a significant impact upon 20, 30 people that are not on payroll, that we have not been able to keep forward. Some of staff we have maintained, and we've rotated some people to get some type of revenue source going for people. But overall, it is a small percentage of what they typically would make working at either Shakers or another restaurant or at a bar or another venue. And we would like very much to have communication taking place with the city of Milwaukee. The Wisconsin Restaurant Association issues us almost daily updates, but they also don't really know what's going on. We have found that there have been updates from the National Restaurant Association, as well as the Wisconsin Restaurant Association, as well as the CDC and the Agriculture Department. And they're not always on the same page, though you might get updates on a daily basis. Then I think you've seen things from both Dr. Fauci and certainly the CDC that have gone against themselves, whereas wearing a mask does not prohibit the spread of the disease. And in fact, it can cause other health conditions for people to wear a mask on a regular basis. And that there's no benefit from actually spraying and sanitizing surfaces with either a Lysol or bleach solution. So I think that, I understand that things have changed. It's a very fluid environment. And much of what we thought was taking place in January is not necessarily applicable today. And much of the information from around the world is not necessarily something that we can have any faith in, because numbers aren't always what numbers should be. Numbers don't lie if they're recorded correctly, but I don't think that's the case, and I think many people believe that as well. So it's imperative that we get this moving, and other restaurants and bars around us as well are in obviously the same situation as all of us are in Milwaukee. What I've noticed is that there's kind of a cutthroat mentality taking place with some venue owners that don't do food. We have a vibrant carry-out program at Shakers, both for food, for wine, and for cigars. Our walking tours have begun this weekend. This is the weekend of the 23rd, our outdoor walking tours. And I think that there are some venues that don't have the benefit of either having a food program, or if they have a food program, it's not very successful, so they have become very jealous, actually, of those venues that are doing some business, to the degree that they are driving around looking to see who's doing something they could find that they might think is outside the normal parameters. In my viewpoint, you want to get an area like this on Restaurant Road to work together. The more people in the area, the better the vibrancy, the better for all of us as operators, those that are open today and those that will be open in the near future after just the carry-out portion of our business is over. And to not have that mindset is so insular and so myopic that it is a detriment to all of us in the entire city of Milwaukee. So, again, I think that the Milwaukee Metropolitan Association of Commerce has to be more concerned about the city itself. Any number of organizations that are responsible for something in the city have to be more in tune to what the businesses are going through and the significant toll it's taking upon all of our employees. And even in so much as we have hired several cooks and bartenders to come back for the opening, we've already lost them because they've gone out to work in other locations in Wauwatosa or West Dallas or Shorewood. I can't blame them at all. So they obviously need the revenue. They have families to take care of, as do we. But we've lost staff, and we will be at a significant disadvantage with this until everything is open again. And I do believe, as do the other business owners that I've talked to, it doesn't matter what the venue might be, and it almost to a man, it seems that people from the downtown area, people from Walker's Point area, people from the Third Ward that I've spoken with that are business owners, it doesn't matter the type of industry, want us to get back to business again. I just read a study this morning about California. They've had more suicides in 2 months than they've had generally an entire year. So mental health is being affected for everybody. And mental health is one of the biggest issues in our society anyway. And now it seems that we are artificially creating an environment which is exacerbating the concerns and the trauma for those people that do have some type of a mental issue taking place. Now, I've also read from Wisconsin Restaurant Association and the NRA that somewhere between 50 and 70% of all restaurants will never open again. And it's not for a good cause. It's not that we can directly make a more than an assumption that there is a cause and effect between people being in a stay-at-home environment and reducing the numbers. And of course, now the numbers are beginning to spike, which is only natural because you, first of all, have the ability to test people. And then you have people that are just, after 2 or 3 months of isolation, are out mixing in the public. So whether they actually have something of the COVID, or they have another strain, or they have the flu or something else taking place, it doesn't matter. If you don't have a constant interaction with other people's germs and bacteria and viruses, then you, of course, are going to have these hit you like a lead pipe in the forehead when you do go back into public. And that's what's taking place now. The other thing is that of the medical professionals that we see on a regular basis, or we've catered things for, they will comment that they have been mandated to, no matter what a person will succumb from, they're mandated to mark that as a death by COVID. So obviously they get an extra $30,000 or more per patient that they can mark off, and the federal government then provides them a stipend as well for death by COVID. The law enforcement people that we get say the same thing. You could have people that are shot or something else is taking place with them, and it's a death by COVID. And that's erroneous to the degree that it is a falsehood to make that report that those people are succumbing to COVID when indeed they're not. So my overlying thought is that we have to get back to doing business as normal or as close to normal as we can get. And we have to find a way to work together as a community to make this happen. And for those major cities, like Milwaukee being one, like Chicago being one, that are holding people back, you're just going to have a larger issue taking place by keeping people away from other people, by keeping down businesses, by keeping people unemployed. The stipend to keep people sitting at home with unemployment doesn't work at all. You're taking away a motivation and a factor that people as social animals need to be together. They need to interact together. They need to conduct business. They need to support their families. I thank you for this time, and we will look forward to our future chats, and hopefully we will have better news in the very near future. Until then, cheers and carry on the best you possibly can.